You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me. Hi, Murph.
Well, hello, AP. You're not going to believe this, but we have reached the last episode of Rider Recaps, but not the last episode of the Just Go Bike podcast.
Well, that is good. These episodes have been awesome. It's kind of like reaching the Mississippi where I'm not really ready for it to end yet. I really wanted them to keep going and going, but I know they can't. So
I know, but we do have a lot of future episodes that are, the whole episode is of a rider or of an experience. So plenty more on the horizon.
You know what? You are so right about that. Mm-hmm. Well, who do we have on the episode today?
We have our last three riders, Jeff and Nick, and then Shannon. He wanted to tell us about, he's got some pretty specific diet restrictions, and it really made his week much more interesting. And it also showcases just how Iowa nice we all are.
Oh, cool. Oh, I love that. I have some relatives that have strict dietary restrictions as well. So I'll be definitely interested in hearing what he has to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just get right to it.
All right. I can't wait to hear. Let's get to it.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Murph.
Thanks for being on the podcast to talk a little bit about RAGBRAI.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell the listeners where you live and if you bike a lot when you're there.
So I live in Rockford, Illinois, and I bike a little bit, not as hilly as the Les Hills, but tried to get a little bit of hills. And I do ride. I ride with my 10-year-old daughter and my wife. My daughter Hannah and my wife Amanda, and yeah.
And how many times have you ridden RAGBRAI?
Well, I've done it. This would have been my third time. Just a segment. My wife graduated from the University of Iowa, so we always tried to do a few of the last ones, especially the last day, especially when they got around the Iowa City area, so she can see some of her people.
And this year, did you ride with a team or with family, or were you solo?
So I was solo-ish. I did do my first full year of RAGBRAI, and I rode the first 6 days by myself. My dad did do the whole support driver, and he loved that.
Cool.
He was just an amazing support driver, and it was, especially for my first year, it was kind of nice to have somebody set up the tent, so I was kind of spoiled in that way. But the reason I decided to ride this year is we did, like I said before, we did the segment, the last time we rode was RAGBRAI 50 from Coralville to Davenport, but our youngest daughter didn't come with us, but we just loved riding with her. And Audrey passed away about 3 years ago. So I rode for Team Dree this year, and Team Dree for my youngest daughter, Audrey, who had severe epilepsy and autism. I rode for her, and Team Dree was kind of we kind of came up with because we were doing some stuff for her in the Rockford area. And we actually, after a few years since she passed, decided to celebrate her birthday with an adaptive bike expo in our hometown of Rockford.
Okay.
So it was just amazing to meet people who had adaptive bikes. And it was just an awesome time.
And will you briefly describe what adaptive bike means for people who maybe don't know that adaptive bikes exist?
Yeah. So from our perspective, my wife did most of this, but just, dealing with insurance, dealing with, things that you don't even know you have to work with. we always had the philosophy that we wanted to do as much with Audrey, and we did a lot of things. We have some friends in the special needs community who I think have always struggled to do things, to do what's kind of a normal family experience. But we always tried and adapted. But adaptive biking, has been around for a long time, and we had a few things. The traditional, trail behind bike trailer didn't really work. So, we tried the Weehoo and a few other things. And we just wanted to share our experience with people in the Rockford community. So Rockford is in between Madison and Chicago, and we don't really have an adaptive shop. So I don't know what some of the shops in Iowa or Des Moines are like for adaptive bikes, but we have some awesome shops in Milwaukee and Madison and Chicago. And we brought Emery's Bicyclery out of Milwaukee down to Rockford, and all the resources, which was kind of cool because I didn't know these resources before we had to look at them. So, I stopped and saw all the Ambucks people and, stopped and had conversations with everybody. But our biggest thing was providing those resources to families that didn't know about it. And, we actually, not we, but through one of our resources, the Bike Elves in southern Wisconsin, they actually gave away 6 adaptive bikes. So it was really cool. And we were able to, spread that love of cycling. And I know I've seen a few pictures of the kiddos and their parents on these bikes, and it's just awesome to see that.
That's awesome. I know that here in Iowa, there's actually an adaptive sports team that does all of RAGBRAI. I believe they're all adults, but they all have different needs. And it's pretty cool to see, people make a goal and then succeed at it.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us about your experience on RAGBRAI. Any highlights you want to share?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And like I said, doing the last day before, it was just a fully immersive experience. I'd have to say probably my favorite town, and I know I'm not probably being super creative with this, was Elkhorn. The Troll was just amazing. And walking into town and just being immersed in the Danish culture and the windmill, that was just really cool. I came back to Rockford, telling my family, okay, we're going to Western Iowa, and I'm going to show you all this stuff. But man, it was just so amazing.
And that Troll, if you didn't know it was there, or you didn't hear the ladies that were kind of yelling to turn, I don't know if everybody would have known.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely a hidden gem, and man, I heard UNAP on the podcast coming up, and I just loved listening to those. But such a hidden gem, and that museum and Elkhorn in general was amazing.
I can't say what my favorite town is, just because they were all everyone was so unique. But Elkhorn is definitely up there.
Mm-hmm.
And how about, did you try new foods? Have any favorites? Tell us about that experience.
I did. I loved I think it was the Danish breakfast bowl in Elkhorn. Man, I had a lot of ice cream on the way. Yeah. I had a few pork chops. But I will tell you, with preparing for this longest ride that I've ever done, I never thought I'd have so many pickles, and the pickles were just kind of a highlight. The pickles and the pickle juice, and pickles.
Yeah, that's the only week of the year that I will gladly drink pickle juice. And there's something about the taste, being outside, but also knowing that it supposedly will help with sore muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And heat, hills, headwinds. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, man, those first 2 days were were something. But I did about 1,000 miles, and like I said, I definitely did not have the hills. I think on the best day, riding in my area, I did about 1,200 feet of climb. So I had to walk a few of those that first day, but by the time my daughter and wife joined me for that last day, I was like, man, these hills in Dubuque are nothing. Yeah, that heat and the hills the first 2 days, and I think it just prepared. I want to say me, but us. It just seemed like it was a team effort, and it definitely was an indoctrination, and you just were ready for it. And man, the headwinds that third day, I remember somebody coming up to me and saying, man, these headwinds are crazy. But I was like, yeah, I will take these headwinds every single time compared to the heat. So
me too. Me
yeah,
too. Yeah.
I've never had those headwinds before, but yeah, I'll put in a little bit extra work. But those first 2 days were kind of brutal, but I wasn't super sore. Knock on wood. Next year when I do the full ride, hopefully with my 11-year-old daughter next year.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, she said, Dad, once school starts, we're gonna be training an hour a day. I said I'd love to, but yeah, hopefully it goes well, and it was just a really smooth experience. So
Good. That's
next
good
year
to hear.
it might be a lot harder, but it was a super smooth first experience.
Yeah. And back to the headwinds and the heat, I felt like the headwinds didn't bother me as much as I thought they would, but I think it's because when you're biking, there's so much to see, so many other cyclists and people watching and talking. Like maybe that's I was preoccupied, but the heat was hard to escape. But those hills, I could kind of, they would hide the wind for a little bit, I guess. I'm not really sure why I thought they weren't that bad.
Maybe you're on to something, but I know it was when we were heading straight east that the headwinds were worse on that third day, right?
Yep.
And I know obviously the ride with GPS was amazing, but I had to turn that off because I would just see the map and, oh man, we're turning east again. we would turn north and, oh my gosh, it's so much better. And then we'd turn east again. I'm like, oh yeah, but
here we go again. Yep.
It probably did. The people watching, the talking is just amazing to meet people from your area, meet people with similar stories, meet people with different stories. It's just amazing. And yeah, definitely all the things that could be hindrances on races or other rides, you could kind of tune out with just all that RAGBRAI is.
Yeah, I agree. So you already kind of said you're coming back to do another RAGBRAI next year. Do you have any advice that you would give people that are listening that want to experience their first RAGBRAI, but they haven't done it yet?
Most definitely. Enjoy the ride. Just enjoy it. Don't go too fast. I know some people got in super quick, and just naturally that's not me because I'm not a super quick rider, but just enjoy it. Stop at everything that you want to. I'm a picture nerd. I'm a geography nerd. So I've been teaching world geography to freshmen for 22 years. So I just loved the Geographic Center of Iowa in Nevada. That was a main geek moment. But just stop and enjoy everything. It really is a yes week. If you think you want to stop. There's nothing stopping you from stopping. So just stop and enjoy it. Don't worry about getting in on time, but just do everything.
And that's the best part of RAGBRAI is everyone's experience is different.
For sure. And I love looking on the Facebook page and everybody having their ideas on what it will be next year. And I know that Matt and you guys and your team has a lot of work ahead of you. Hopefully you guys get a little bit of time off because this definitely was awesome. And, obviously, man, just all the people, obviously the towns, but all the staff that put it in, you can just tell how curated and how just well thought out everything was.
Yeah. And just think, next year we're going to probably be even a little bit better.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your story. And I look forward to either meeting you or talking to you next year to see how your second full year is.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks. Next up, we have Shannon. Hello, Shannon.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Tell everybody where you live and if there is good cycling there.
Yeah, I live out in Maine. It's kind of rural Maine, kind of right on the border of New Hampshire. There's a lot of great country roads, a lot of farms, a lot of cornfields, but there's a lot of hills. So I was definitely ready for the hills and mountains of Iowa.
Of Iowa, yeah. And do you normally stick to pavement or do you do gravel if you're kind of in the rural area?
A lot of road biking and a lot of mountain biking as well. There's a lot of great single track around here, so I stay busy on the bike.
Okay. And how many RAGBRAIs have you done?
This was my first one,
Whoa.
so I was really excited.
Well, I love to ask people the question, you've spent your whole life not doing RAGBRAI. What made this be the year that you were going to come join us?
It's kind of funny. My wife has a friend who is he's approaching 70 years old. And I was telling him about, I really want to do it one year. And he said he's been wanting to do it for 40 years and he still hasn't done it.
Wow.
And just hearing him say that kind of made me think to myself, like, hey, I don't want that to happen to me. I think I'm just going to do it now. So no better time than now.
Yeah. And so you came from Maine. Did you come as part of a team? Were you solo? Did you join a charter?
I was originally going to be 100% solo up until about a week before. And I saw a random Facebook group post on the RAGBRAI channel for a team of 15, needed 3 people. And I reached out, started chatting with them, and I joined the team.
Wow.
I was the youngest person on the team. There are a lot of people were in their 50s, 60s, early 70s. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I am so glad. I feel so lucky to be able to, feel like there were people waiting there for me once I got to Iowa.
Right. And were any of them experiencing RAGBRAI for the first time as well?
Well, there was about 12 of them who have been doing it since the 80s together. So they were a pretty good group of people to kind of lead the way. And then there were 3 or 4 newbies who I was the only one not from Iowa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is cool. I mean, we could probably talk for half an hour just about the team and the dynamics and all that good stuff. But I know you have other stories to share. So let's hear it.
Yeah, so I drove from Maine, which was probably my biggest mistake of the week, just because it took about 23 hours of driving. So,
oh my gosh,
and I have celiac, so I'm gluten-free. So just knowing food and the lead up to it, finding food on my drive there, and during RAGBRAI, I knew it would be a challenge. So I brought a ton of stuff for myself. And
what does celiac or gluten-free mean for those that don't maybe know?
Yeah, so it's an autoimmune disease where I can't have anything like bread, wheat, pasta, but I'm sensitive enough where I can't even have it if someone cooks like a flour tortilla or a piece of bread on a grill and then cooks my food in that same area. I'll also get sick. So I just knew like cross-contamination would be a big issue, like with the vendors and how busy they all are. So
right. And, now you know this, and I'm assuming you knew coming into it that, you're eating outside almost all the time. So you definitely have limited choices, but then also on top of it, your health issues of like, I got to make sure that nothing else has touched these utensils and we're outside. So how did you navigate that?
Yeah, so I had been emailing people and messaging people on, well, one was on Facebook. There was a group of gluten-free riders who have had done it before. There was actually someone who created a spreadsheet that listed every potential option for gluten-free in every single town that you would ride through for
Wow.
every day of the event. And so I had been messaging with her for probably a month leading up to it. I was actually messaging with her before I was even registered for RAGBRAI just to see, like, is this even possible for me to do?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, fast forward on day 2, I actually ran into her randomly at one of the places that she had on her list, and we were
Wow.
hugging, and like it was super fun. It was like we were best friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's like a RAGBRAI miracle when you talk to
Yeah.
somebody before you come and then boom, there they are.
Yeah. So that was
Wow.
really great. And then the other thing was I had messaged with one of the vendors who was the breakfast vendors for every day, HOQ wraps. And so I had been messaging with the chef, and he said, you know what, I know you're having trouble finding food. So he made accommodations for me every day.
Wow.
He would make my meal special. We became really best buds, and he had a food truck at 2 different locations. So on a couple of days, we'd be chatting, and he's like, "Hey, I got to ride to my next one." We would ride the 10 or 15 miles together to his next food truck, and got to know him pretty well. And yeah, it was like a great friendship kind of bloom there.
Wow. So after, at the end of that first day, I mean, let's take out all those hills and the heat. Did you feel kind of confident, like I'm going to make it through the rest of the week because things are going or falling into place?
Well, the first day was really rough. I mean, because I drove all the way there. You're with all these new people. Luckily we weren't sleeping in a tent. It was nice. We were staying in just random homes every night of friends and family of the team. And so we actually stayed in some kind of like a shed that was built for grandkids. So it was like a big bunk room.
Oh, cool.
But the bad part was we were all in there together. So there were a couple of snorers, and I got like the worst night of sleep. And it was a little bit out of town. So we weren't even at the original start town to start. So we kind of rolled in to the route.
Mm-hmm.
And, coming from Maine, it was like, hey, did this start? Like, where's the ceremony? We're just riding our bikes on a road and we're just kind of merging into, there's a few other 100 people, but it was kind of spread out at that point.
Sure.
And I was like, why did I start questioning, like, why did I drove a long ways just to ride these roads? And it just started to, and then all of a sudden you just start, you get into the bottleneck, and people are just so willing to chat, and everyone is in the best mood ever. And it was really great.
Yeah. I always, I've talked about it before with newbies, like, there is no start line or finish line, like you mentioned, and it would be cool if there was, but I don't know if you experienced at the Mississippi River, the line waiting to dip your tire. If you had to do that every single morning and afternoon, I think people would be like, no, thanks. I'm skipping it.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm kind of happy the way it all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. On day 1, we're riding, and with food being my number one worry, I got into Erling, which was one of the last towns, I believe, on that first day. And, so I forget how many miles, it must have been 40 or 50 miles at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a low food day for me other than the breakfast. But I was asking a lot of the vendors in town, do you know of anything? And I was getting a lot of no's. There wasn't really any option. And there was a lady working at, she had a booth. She was selling some sort of health beverage or something. And she said, you're not going to find anything gluten-free in this town. I've lived here for a really long time. I don't think you're going to have any luck. And I was like, oh, well, that's a bummer to hear. And she goes, well, my mom lives a couple blocks off of Main Street. Why don't you come with me? We'll make you something.
Oh,
And so I'm like, are you sure? And her and her son walk me. They're like, yeah, come on. Like, you're not going to find anything else. So she brings me up to her mom's house, who's 91 years old. And she's like, well, what do you need? Gluten-free? Oh, my nephew, or she mentioned somebody is gluten-free. She goes, oh, I know about that. I'll make you a baked potato.
Oh.
And so it was, a really hot first day, and it was kind of towards the end of the day, and there I am with grandma, her mom, and her son. We're just chatting as she's making me a baked potato and sour cream and trying to find toppings for me. And yeah, I was in their house for like 45 minutes, just me, just chatting. And
wow.
she's cutting up a ham. She's finding whatever she can to feed me. And I was like, that's when RAGBRAI kind of started for me. It was like, wow, like this is an experience that I can't really get anywhere else.
Right.
And I just, like, my mood and just everything just kind of changed at that point. Like, wow, this is a really special thing to be a part of.
That's amazing. And while you were talking, I looked up Erling, population 385. So
Yeah.
You found the one lady whose mom understood what gluten-free meant. Like, oh my gosh, this is definitely a RAGBRAI miracle right here.
Yeah. And the funny thing was that night, so we were staying in host homes of everybody on the team was pretty much from Iowa. So I was telling them the story, and I took a picture with her and I showed it to the family we were staying with, and they go, oh yeah, they knew exactly who she was.
No way.
And they're like, oh yeah, she's, they told us a little story about her, and they're like, oh yeah. And so it was just so funny, like small town and how everyone knew each other there.
Wow. And then didn't you write a note, something about a grocery store trip that you had to make?
Yeah. And then another time I was in, it was after the 100-mile day. So it was funny. It was like the hardest of the days were the hardest for me to find food in those towns. So I was wandering around again, and someone overheard me. And she goes, I live here. I don't tend to eat at many of these restaurants, and especially not when they're busy, just knowing how cross-contamination goes. So I'm talking with her, and she goes, my car is only 2 blocks away. I can drive you to the grocery store. And I was like, really? And so there I was, off I went, just hopped in someone's car.
Just a random stranger.
Yeah. I was like, all right, well, yeah. I mean, she was super nice. She drove me down there. She drove me back. She sat and chatted for a while, and yeah, it was just really great to meet people from these small towns in Iowa, and how nice everybody was. And everyone was like willing to help if they heard you having trouble or not having a great experience with something. It was like, they're just jumping into, so willing to help out.
Wow. And especially when you have dietary restrictions, but you're doing an event that requires lots and lots of calories and nutrition and water. And so it seems like you handled it really well.
Yeah, there were a lot of days where I ate a few ribeyes or pork chops just to keep those calories coming.
Yeah.
I remember on the 100-mile day, there was a sign for the Moose Lodge. Like every few miles, it was like Moose Lodge. And so it was a couple miles off of the course. And I went up there, and they had pork chops and brats. And, I had to kind of explain to them what gluten-free was, but that was kind of my big meal on the 100-mile day, were a couple of pork chops and bratwurst, and it was a lot of meat. So
sure. You got to get what you can get, right?
Yeah, whatever I could get.
Yeah. And what was your last question? What was your experience getting to the Mississippi River?
You almost like tear up when you're coming. It's like it was funny how good my body was feeling for the week, just riding that much. And I mean, I was just in such a chatty, happy mood that day. I didn't want it to end. I kept telling people if Iowa was longer, I would keep riding.
Right.
And I remember just on those hills, that roller coaster the last day, I was riding with someone from Boulder, and I used to live in Colorado, and we were just chatting about our favorite bike trails and different rides we've done. No one was ever talking about like anything serious or work related or anything. So you really were just everybody was talking about like their favorite things. And I mean, that last day was just, it was fun. I mean, we were kind of our team was kind of in a hurry to get out of there. So it was kind of motoring a little bit, but you find people that are kind of at your own pace, and you just, I mean, it's so easy to, start up a conversation even when you're going like 18 miles an hour towards the finish line.
Right. Yeah. And everybody has the same goal. Like they kind of don't want it to end, but I know exactly what you mean by it. It just gets emotional. You're just like, what? I did this? Yeah. I'm doing it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was great. It could have been sad for the upcoming drive home, but
did you try and not think about that until the very moment?
I really tried to block that out of my mind for most of the most for RAGBRAI, but it was great.
Oh, awesome. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for sharing your story, and I'm glad that you had a great first year. Do you think you'll come back to Iowa?
Yeah, I met so many. I think I was talking with at least 20 or more people a day, plus getting to know everyone on my team. It's like I made so many best friends. A lot of people, I got their contact info of just people that I was riding along with. Every day you kind of, you just randomly see the same people each day.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't want to just lose those relationships. It just feels like they're my bike friends. So it's like, I'll be, if possible, like I want to be back next year. So.
Yep. And it's amazing how, let's say the person that you talked to from Colorado, even if you hide, you will find them next year. It's just just so weird how that works.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, really anything you go by someone. There was a guy wearing a Minnesota Vikings jersey, and I'm a big fan, and, just talking to him for 20 minutes about the Vikings, and all of a sudden you're best friends, and you run into him 3 more times throughout the week. And it's just fun how it works out there.
Great. Well said. Well said. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks. It was great.
We will be right back.
Dear Friday, Toyota says, let's put good times in gear with the Tundra, Tacoma, and 4Runner. Want some cool available features? We've got power tailgates to power game days, and a trailer backup guide that's the champ of the ramp. Heck, we might even cancel Monday. Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Now, back to the show.
Next up, we have Nick. Hello, Nick.
Hello, Murph. How are you doing today?
Good. Tell everybody where you're from, and if you could describe the cycling culture there.
Yeah, so born and raised in Cedar Rapids, live here my entire life. Cycling culture is amazing here. As a lot of people know, you go off the Cedar Valley Trail. A lot of your cycling goes off there, but there are so many other trails that we have locally here. So many amazing places that offer cycling events like Sagwagon, Peddler's Fork, all these different places locally that are really in tune with the riding culture here.
And for those who have listened to this podcast, I've probably talked about the Cedar Valley Nature Trail more than one time, but it is a very significant rails trail that goes, probably over 70 miles now, but it goes right through the heart of Cedar Rapids.
It does, yeah. Where we live on the northeast side of town, we are about 1.5 miles off the trail. It was one of those things that when we were looking for our house, we were like, all right, we want to be close enough where we can still get on the trail and be easily accessible there. So it's a big part of the community.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, cycling in general is a big part of your life, which brings us to RAGBRAI. How many times have you done RAGBRAI?
This year was my 8th RAGBRAI.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So most people we've been interviewing are like experiencing their first RAGBRAI. So
okay, wow. Okay.
I'd love to get your perspective of somebody who has done it 8 times. What was your RAGBRAI like?
It was great. It was amazing. This year. It was great. I've been doing RAGBRAI. I did a few back in high school and college. Took some time off, and then have been doing them the last 4 years. This year was so much fun. You kind of caught a little bit of everything this year with the weather, with the hills, long days, short days. It was you had a lot of opportunity to get really, really good rides in and hang out a little bit with your people.
Yeah, yeah. And do you do it solo, or are you with a team or with family, or how do you RAGBRAI?
I'm with the team. Shout out Team Wimpy. Been going strong since 1991.
Wow.
I think this year we were around 70 riders throughout the week. On the team, we hover around that 70 number for the most part. They are the best RAGBRAI family anyone could ever ask for.
It's a whole different experience. I mean, people do RAGBRAI in so many different ways, whether it's solo, with a team, in an RV, just with spouses. But there's something about a team, and like you said, 70 people, they all have the same goal of making it to the Mississippi River and having a blast along the way. So I can only imagine Team Wimpy and what it's like at the campground every night.
It's so much fun. It is so much fun because you get all those different personalities and everyone coming together. I mean, everyone knows everyone, but everyone has their own story of how they got on the team too. So, but when you have that small community like that, getting into camp, people are cheering, people are happy. And then even in the morning when you're waking up, no one wants to get up in the morning, especially, coming out of a tent at 5:30, 6 in the morning. But
Right.
when you're greeted by, a bunch of your friends and hot coffee, it's hard to beat that,
Yeah. Yep. I can't believe how many times I've heard somebody say, when they get up in the morning, they like that first cup of hot coffee is so awesome. And I'm like, what? It's like 85 degrees when you wake up, but yet you still want a hot coffee. But I get it. It's the feeling of being back home and, a little bit of tradition's not the right word, but habits.
It's habits. I call it traditions too. I mean, everybody's go, go, go sometimes, but in the morning you take that 30 minutes or so. We just sit down, we put all the lawn chairs out there and everyone's just sitting there with a hot, cup of coffee. And we're just shooting it for a good 30 minutes. And it's like we've seen everyone all week already. What is there to talk about? But we somehow find something to talk about. Yep.
That is true. Well, do you have any good stories or specific things that you want to share with listeners?
Definitely. Yeah. From this year, opposed to a lot of the other years, coming into Dubuque this year, the amount of people out on the roads cheering and just celebrating was so cool to see that. That was one thing we were talking about, that a lot of times you're coming in and it's you might have some crowds here and there, but Dubuque, I mean, shout out to them. They really showed out with the crowds, especially the one hill up by, what is it, the Loris and UW up there. I mean, that was it. You might have just rode 410 miles. You might be tired, but man, that put some wind under your sails seeing that.
Yeah, especially when you first hit the outskirts of Dubuque and there was a huge cheer section, just, people in lawn chairs, just it felt like I was in a parade. And then the very next sign I saw said, 10 miles to the river. And I'm like, what? We still have 10 miles to go? But it was that same feeling the whole 10 miles. Just, every other block there were people cheering. Hopefully you felt the same.
It was. Yeah, no, you said it perfectly there. Is for that last 10 miles or so, it was pretty much a nonstop. You're running into crowds cheering and just celebrating. And it was a good culmination of the whole week there.
And what's your take on heat, hills, headwind?
Is that what we're calling this year? Is the 3 H's there?
I mean, all of them are non-negotiable unless you're, somebody that decides to sag, but you never know going into it. And I think we got, like you said at the beginning, a taste of all of them.
We did. And everyone is all in this together. It's not like, oh, you're the only one having to deal with the hills and the heat.
Right.
Everyone's out there.
Yeah.
And so, it's the heat those first 2 days. It was brutal. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but it was also cool to see just, how all the farmers out there with the water hoses. Because most of the time you're like, oh, I don't want to get everything all wet. Those first 2 days, you're like, I don't care if I'm dripping with water, because I know in 5 minutes it's going to be gone and I'm going to need more.
I was the same way. Every sprinkler that there was an opportunity, I was going through it. Or the kids with squirt guns, like,
yes,
bring it. I will take it.
Yep. And the heat and finding the 5 or 10 minutes of relief when you find shade. The best part, we found, just a short story. It was the second craft beer tent on day 2. We found a shaded, like, wind tunnel in between 2 silos. And we were like telling our entire team, we were sending out messages, you need to get here. Spend as much time as you need here. We are setting up camp right here. And it was like 40 miles into the day. So it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And it was that kind of, hey, we had to battle through it. And the hills were fun. The hills are always fun. I know a lot of people, obviously everyone's going to prefer a downhill, but getting to get up that uphill just to get going down. I mean, I saw so many people huffing and puffing, but also cheering on other people, saying, you guys got this. We know it's rough, but keep on going. And so, the hills, you can't have a downhill without an uphill.
Right. And I thought the hills were, they weren't super challenging in that you were always guaranteed a fun downhill. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like if we were in Colorado and you had to do 3,500 feet of climb, typically you would do it all at once in one big, huge mountain climb, where here in Iowa, it's just up and down and up, kind of like roller coaster. I'm not saying I want hills every day, but they were not the top of mind. It was more heat.
It was more the heat. And I know I met, it was, I can't remember if it was day 1 or 2. It was Erling, way out west. Erling, Iowa was the one that they had the pretty good hill coming up. And then they had us take a hard left into a littler hill, and then a hard right into a very, very steep hill getting into town. Like the whole little town was built on this one hill. And so you are dog tired. You just hit uphill, uphill, uphill just to get up top. And there was the sweetest woman in the world sitting up there in the information booth, just herself. And I stopped, and like I said, I am huffing and puffing. I'm dripping in sweat. And she hands me a water, and she says, "Welcome to Erling." And on her on her t-shirt, it says she's the mayor of Erling, Iowa. Yep. And so I got to chat for about 5 minutes with the mayor of Erling, Iowa. And I said, listen, I'm not going to recommend this, to everyone, but you guys might need to think about like flattening this out a little bit, because that was awful getting into town.
Can you imagine if they went to their first meeting post RAGBRAI and they're like, well, riders want us to flatten out our community. What should we do?
I told her I'd throw in a couple bucks for the excavator if need be.
I do recall that hill because I'm like a lot of cyclists where my shoes clip into my pedals, right? So you're kind of locked in, and you have to do kind of a side twist to unclip. And I was, I came around the corner, saw the steep hill, and I was like, oh my gosh. and I didn't clip out. Sometimes I do that on steep hills. And so I'm like, you're halfway up the hill. I'm seeing 10%, 11% grade on my computer. I'm like, I can't clip out at this point. So of course I made it to the top, but you have that panic in your brain. Like, I'm going to fall over in slow motion and then somebody will probably run over me, but it didn't happen. But
I think
my brain.
We've all had that slow motion fall, though. There's no shame in it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, any other good stories about either Team Wimpy or your experience?
Team Wimpy is, again, I just want to put a plug in for them. They are amazing. Jeff Lee, who is the owner of the team, has been an absolute rock for this. The amount of work that they put into creating the week for all of us it's so much work, but it is so much fun to get to spend with them throughout the year. And we've had people, this year alone, we usually have people from a handful of states. We've got Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois. We had 4 guys from Germany, 4 people from Germany this year. Yeah. We had a woman and 3 guys from Germany. And for the 3 guys, this was their first venture over here. They've never been to the United States, and they've never done anything like this. And one of the guys, super, super tall, athletic build. I remember first day he was talking with us all, and he's like, well, telling us about all of his riding experience out in Germany. Literally riding the Autobahn on his bicycle.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. And all these distance races that he does these endurance races. And so the first thing he asked us day 0 in camp was, well, guys, how do I win RAGBRAI?
Oh no.
And we started, everyone that's done this for so long, we started laughing a little bit. And we're like, you win RAGBRAI by finishing the day and enjoying your time.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
And every day I remember we would come up and somebody in the camp, when they would get in, we would high five them and say, hey, congrats on winning today.
Yes. In theory, hopefully they won every single day.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. They had the most fun time. And it sounds like they're going to be repeat RAGBRAI riders.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you so much, Nick, for sharing your story. And, another shout out to Team Wimpy. It sounds like a crew of 70 that's been coming back for years and years and years. They've got to be doing something right.
I think it's RAGBRAI that's doing the things right. Wimpy has been along for the ride, like I said, for 35 years. I only have been on it about 3 years now, but it has been a game changer for me. So.
And I shouldn't even ask this, but do you think you'll be back for another year?
I think that's a definitive yes. We're not breaking news here or anything. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Nick.
Likewise, Murph. I appreciate it.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike.
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.